Mining Network's coverage of PDAC is brought to you by Tudor Gold.
Hello, welcome back. We're at PDAC and I'm with Graham Crew, the CEO of Rupert Resources. Graham, good to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here and great to be back on the show, Peter.
Good. Look, quite a busy couple of months for you. Obviously, you joined the company, when was it? Was it around October?
14th of October last year, yeah. So I've been through my 100 days now. I'm
good.
Got
Past
the feet on the
probation,
ground and it's, we're into it.
Good. Right, okay, so you joined in October. Since then, obviously, big thing that everyone's been waiting for is the PFS. You just delivered that a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Why don't we talk a little bit more about it? Because I think when you drill into the numbers here, on a per ounce basis, or however, most ways you want to look at this, whether it be in the margin, whether it be in the all-in sustaining cost, whether it be on NPV per ounce produced, this is, if not one of the best projects that has not been built yet, and you discovered it 5 years ago. And it's the rate and pace that you guys have really accelerating this thing is so impressive. And why don't we just talk a little bit about, I guess, what separates Ickery apart, because I still feel as though you have a reputation for not being a very promotional company.
Sure.
But at the same time, you always sort of understate and over-deliver. And I think this is another great example of you guys just cracking on with the job and really just delivering something.
I think that's right. And I think it is a culmination, with the PFS, outwardly it's just a set of results, okay? There's a study and these are the numbers, but internally it's a culmination of 5 years work from discovery. And as you said, to be here today talking about a PFS of probably, if not the best, one of the best undeveloped gold projects in the world today, with a path to development and a path to cash flow, it's an exceptional effort by the team. And obviously I've come in fairly recently, but to be able to present that on behalf of the team and to be able to talk about that is a real privilege. And what we've showed is, we can do that in that 5 year period. And what the study shows is, if we can continue the development pathway, 5 years from today we can be in production and producing exceptional amounts of cash flow. So it's really is a combination of a fantastic piece of work, both by our team and then our partners. WSP have assisted with the study, other consultants along the way. It really is an important de-risking piece of work that takes Ickery, well down the line to being a producing asset.
Yeah, and which I quite liked with the presentation that you did. But you have now outlaid the pathway in terms of the permitting, exactly what the different routes are that you need to take, how you're going to go about them, when you're thinking of completing them, when we're going to start seeing from first gold pour.
Correct.
I think from memory we're actually seeing first gold pour when 2030, is that right?
2030. So look, things have to go right for that, but things could be slightly shorter as well. So what we tried to do in the study, and we worked with the QPs on this, we worked with the internal team on this, and we said we need to put a timeline to the market that is, so people can see that it's realistic, it's achievable, and it's sensible in terms of, and it outlines the work that we need to do. Because it's the number one question that people might have. Okay, that's great, it's a great study, it's a great project, but when do we actually see it? So that was a core piece of work, certainly since I started, of making sure that we had something in the study that projected that.
Yeah, look, I think what I love about you guys is, even with your predecessor James, and I think even with James stepping down, knowing he's not a mine builder, bringing in the best mine builder he could find, yourself.
Yes.
I think he'd say that. I think it's now, and now you've got this pathway into production. I think it's now just a case of now de-risking further and further and further, right? But then you've also got this blue scale upside of exploration, because you're still there.
I think that's right. Yeah, I was nearly going to jump in there and say, but it's not like we're not exploring, right? Yeah. We're still committing, 25 to 30% of our capital allocation is going towards that grassroots exploration. And one of the things that I think is a real strength of Rupert is that kind of understatedness. And you're right. I think James had that style, and I think when they've looked for someone, they found someone that's all got a similar style in that regard with a different skill set. So, but I would say that exploration is still a very core part of our strategy. I still firmly believe that Central Lapland Greenstone Belt just the portion we're in is probably, we're sitting on, 4 to 5 million ounces today with inferred and targets, etc. I firmly believe that's a 10 million ounce belt. You've got the history
just
of
that
Kittilä.
Area 1, you mean?
Yeah,
where you are now. Yeah.
You talk, Area 1 and across the leases that we currently have, and then you look at Kittilä, which is less than 100 kilometres away. Started with whatever the resource was at the beginning, 1990. I can't remember. First resource 2009, maybe 1 million ounces or something, and now you're talking 10 million ounces in produced and still in resource. So, not that I'm drawing any kind of geological analogies.
No,
to
because that's
Kittilä.
sulfide and your oxide. And
correct, but
if anything, your ore body is probably a bit better. But you don't need to say that.
Well, from a margin perspective, I think
Yeah.
what we understand today, it's as good as just about anything around, given the grade, given the strip ratio, etc. But I do believe in the potential of that belt for more gold, and where's the best place to find gold? It's in a gold mine. So that is still a core part of our strategy. It's not just ICRI. That's a great set of numbers, and it's great to be able to come out and talk about the numbers as they are in the study. But there's a degree of WSP they're not a fly-by-night consultancy. They're not gonna shoot the lights out and downplay the capex or increase production. And it's a very sensible study. But we've also got the exploration upside there as well.
Just staying on the exploration, because what I started to notice a few years ago, because I've been following this story a lot since you actually made that ICRI discovery, that first
Yes.
ICRI discovery hole. I've really almost religiously followed this story.
Yep.
It's a great story, and what I've noticed, and I'm sure you're aware of, is that obviously it started off with you and a few others in that belt. And now you look at that belt today and you look at that land holding, the ownership of that land holding in the belt. You've got yourselves, you've got Agnico Eagle, you've got B2 Gold, I think Kinross have got some land there now.
Interests, yeah.
Am I right in thinking there's a few other really big names over there as well? Obviously you've got Anglo American with the Scati mine.
Yeah. Geologically, it's certainly an area of interest.
Every now and then you have new belts that are discovered.
Yes.
There aren't many of them left to be discovered, really.
Yeah.
You could argue Greenland's still got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
You could argue places like Newfoundland have still got a lot of potential. There's a few really good projects coming out. But this is one of these locations that really, because it's underneath base of Till, there just has not been a lot of drilling, a lot of exploration.
That's right. I mean, there's very few outcropping deposits in the region. There's been, obviously there's been history of base metals mining, and it's only more recent history of gold mining. So, and if you look at where I'm from in the world, I mean, I grew up in Kalgoorlie, and you look at the genesis of that, probably a little bit different there because people were stubbing their toe on gold nuggets, and and then next thing you know, you've got 20, 30 million ounces. So it's probably too early to draw those sort of comparisons. But in terms of the rocks and the potential and the fact that that there is a Kittilä, there is an ICRI, there is a Sakati, and there are other, just about everywhere we drill there, in terms of geochemical sampling of base of Till, we find traces of gold.
Yeah,
so it's more about for me, it's more about understanding the systems and how that gold has been deposited in those areas, and then you're going to start to see a lot more work on a lot more results in terms of that exploration, I think.
Yeah, and it's also what's quite interesting with you as well is we spoke about this when we were talking about the study a few weeks ago on a webinar, but you've only included ICRI in that study for now.
Correct, yeah.
You haven't included the part of Ara mine, which
that's right.
There's some ounces come from there, and there's still a lot more work to be done on satellite targets like Heine South, Heine Central, host of others, where I think you've had some real bonanza grade hits. I think over 100 gram hits over some of these targets.
Correct.
Clearly need a lot more work on it, and potentially have the opportunity to bring some high grade ore into the mine plan earlier. There's so much potential here, even with what you've done.
That's right.
And it just continues, right?
Yeah, and one of the, as you said, some of those hits, if they were in the eastern goldfields of Western Australia or somewhere in that Abitibi, you'd probably float $100 million company on the back of those, and draw more investors in. and I think we'll have some results coming out in the next few weeks that will show people at where we're drilling now. There are some more interesting hits. Our job then is to bring those through to something that can come into a mine plan. I think you touched on something there that I think is important to touch on, is that I used touch on twice in one sentence there, but I think you touched on something that is important to be clear with everybody. So in the study, we have only used the indicated material. So what this study is, and the reason why it's an NI 43-101 document with independent QPs, is because we're now declaring a maiden reserve.
Yeah.
So everything else before has been, it's a resource, and it could be this and it could be that, and it's a little bit more speculative, let's say. Now we're getting to the stage where this is a reserve that independent people are prepared to sign off on and say that is what your economic basis is for this project. So I think that's an important step for people to understand. And as you said, things like part of Ara, it's an inferred resource, 400,000 ounces. Haina South, a small inferred resource on Haina Central. Those we haven't included any of those inferred materials in the study. We've got more work to do, and we've got more exploring to do. So we're gonna keep working on those things, and when the time comes, then we can bring those into a reserve category, and then you can see where they slot in the mine plan. When you look at the production plan in the study, you've got the open pit where we're running at 3.5 million tonnes per annum for the first 10 years. Then we drop down to 2 million tonnes. But now we've got time to fill that gap. Whether it's 1 gram open pit material, or it's 2 gram open pit material, or it's 3 gram underground material, whatever it might be, that's all just upside value to having that facility in that region.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's funny, I remember when I've been chatting to your predecessor, I from memory, even the till itself is just littered in gold as well. I can't imagine you can do much with that though, can you?
With that, with what?
With the till, from memory, there's just littered with gold.
Yeah, well, like I said, everywhere we do base of till drilling, not everywhere, that's probably an exaggeration, but in a lot of places where we have done the base of till drilling, you find gold anomaly. So it's there is gold in the system.
I just want to look at a valuation basis, because
Sure.
obviously I think a lot of companies, a lot of people when they look at a junior, they'll see a billion market cap
Yes.
on Rupert Resources, and they'll go, oh, how am I going to make 10 times on that? Or
where's the upside?
Where's the upside from there?
Sure.
I guess I was looking through some of your material from PFS. One of the things that I noticed, and I wouldn't mind quizzing you on sort of where you see the upside, but one of the things I noticed was, I think on an NPV basis for reserve ounce, the NPV was about $500 per reserve ounce.
Yeah.
Whereas you're trading at the moment around 200.
Sure.
Which is pretty good still,
Yes.
but there's still a lot of wiggle room there. Obviously there's a disconnect there, but I mean, for you, when you're talking to investors, what's the opportunity today for people to get involved?
Yeah. Look, well, first of all, just on the value per reserve ounce, we've been able to declare a reserve. We did the study based on a consensus price in January, which was $21.50 per ounce. Now, the day we announced the study, I think gold was nudging $29.50 an ounce. So if you run those sort of numbers, through the thing, you're talking about something that produces an NPV of over $3 billion US dollars. So you're talking exceptional NAV for this project. In fact, every $100 of gold price, gives you $160 million of NPV increment. So it's something that is highly levered to the gold price. So if you are someone who believes that the gold price in the long run is going to be higher, and I'm not going to get into macro and global debt and all of these sorts of things.
Well, we've had enough of those chats today anyway, don't worry.
Yes, but if you're someone that believes in the upside in the gold price, then there's probably very few opportunities like Ikari to have that kind of leverage to the gold price. So the thing I would say to someone is have a look at the cash flow that this thing can generate, and have a look at the leverage to the gold price, and it is and as I said before, we're not finished yet. Like, this is just a step towards de-risking. It's an important step towards bringing it into production, but it's only a step, and there's more steps to come. So I don't think it's going to get cheaper anytime soon. So if you want that long-term upside, I think it's a good place to be.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Another question, it's something that we haven't spoken about in a while, is obviously you've got a very large shareholder in Agnico.
Sure.
Have you spoken to them about the PFS? What do they think?
Yeah. So we've certainly given them an update on the PFS. We actually, as part of their investment, we have a quarterly technical committee with them, which is very fortunate that the most recent one was we were able to have at Kittila mine.
Oh, you were up on site?
Yeah. So we went up to site and got to visit Kittila, and the infrastructure investment they've put into that mine is really, really impressive. And that was, it was great to see how they think about the investment in their operations. So, we've had good discussions with them. It's not for me to comment what they think about the study, but it is, I think it is, as I said before, it is a study that, is independently verified. It is something that is, something that you can hang your hat on, so to speak.
Yeah, okay. So what are you looking forward to this year? So, say, for example, we're chatting again at PDAC 2026.
Yeah.
What do you want to be able to tell me?
Yeah, look, what I would like to be able to tell you is we've had some more great exploration success. So, we're out there drilling now. We've got 3 rigs out at the moment, doing more primary base of till work in various locations and follow-ups. So I'd like to be able to tell you that we've had some really great exploration success over the year. I would like to tell you that our permitting is, as per the timeline that we published, has really started to gain traction. We've been able to submit our EIA report, which is a key element, and I'd like to be able to tell you that our DFS is well and truly underway. We've got some key partners involved in that we see taking us through to the construction. And I'd like to be able to tell you that we're continuing to work and optimise the timeline and that path to cash flow.
Good. All right, Graham. Thank you for your time.
Very welcome.